Breaking news! The Miami Dolphins draft strategy may have just been exposed and is turning heads across the league. NFL agent Drew Rosenhaus, with close ties to the Dolphins front office and key players like Tyreek Hill, has just made a bombshell statement. Yes, Dolphins fans, this may be the closest we'll get to reading Chris Grier's playbook before Thursday's draft. The pressure is on in South Florida, and I have a lot to unpack with you. But before I go any further, make sure you've hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan for over 17 years. If possible, comment something like this: "The Miami Dolphins live in my heart." And of course, if you want Chris Grier fired, comment, "Grier out." Now let's dive into what the Dolphins' real draft plan may be. According to Rosenhaus, the best path for Miami would be to select a cornerback at number 13 and then a defensive lineman at number 48. This is no offhand guess. When Rosenhaus speaks, people in Miami listen. His connections run deep, and when he hints at plans like this, there's a good chance he knows more than he's letting on. With Jalen Ramsey's future still hanging in the balance, trade or not, it seems like his days in aqua and orange could be numbered. The need for a new alpha in the secondary is urgent. And let's be real here. If Grier and company still believe Cam Smith is somehow going to magically turn into a lockdown corner in year 3, I've got beachfront property in Wyoming to sell you. It's just not happening. The Dolphins need to secure a true shutdown guy. And according to Rosenhaus, 2 names are on the radar: Will Johnson and J.A. Barron. Both corners are elite in their own right. Johnson is the ideal outside corner, standing at 6 feet 1 inch with the arm length and college stats to back it up. His coverage skills were elite, with Pro Football Focus backing up his production. Meanwhile, Barron brings versatility that Johnson can't match. He's played outside, inside, safety, you name it, and he's more durable, having avoided the injury issues that have occasionally sidelined Johnson. This is what you call a pick-your-poison scenario. Do you value the prototype build and stats of Johnson, or the versatility and reliability of Barron? Rosenhaus leans toward Barron possibly going earlier. Teams like the Jets, Raiders, and 49ers are already sniffing around. If Miami sits tight at 13, it might end up being Johnson who falls into their lap. And you know what? That might not be such a bad thing. Between the two, there's no real losing scenario, just a decision about fit. Now here's where things get even more intriguing. At pick 48, Miami's defensive line could see a major reinforcement. The current state of that unit is, frankly, alarming. Zach Sealer is the anchor, and Benito Jones is back on a 1-year deal, but the departures of Deshaun Hand and Calais Campbell have left massive holes. Miami doesn't just need a starter, they need depth. At least 3 or 4 new faces are needed just to field a solid training camp rotation, let alone a 53-man roster. So who are the main targets at 48? TJ Sanders from South Carolina, Darius Alexander from Toledo, and Tyreek Williams from Ohio State lead the pack. But there's a twist. Derek Harmon, once projected as a first-rounder, may be sliding down the boards due to a mysterious medical concern. This is reminiscent of what happened with Johnny Newton last year, another highly touted D-lineman who slipped and could have been a steal. If Harmon is there at 48, Miami has to pounce. No questions asked. That's your guy. Still, if Harmon's gone, Sanders and Alexander are more than just fallback options. Sanders is slightly undersized but plays with ferocity and quickness that's rare. He's a disruptive force, even in the talent-heavy SEC. Alexander, while coming from a smaller school, posted absurd numbers, elite pass rush and run-stop win rates that put him in the top tier nationally. Personally, I lean toward Sanders. Pairing him with Sealer could be devastating for opposing offenses. And while fans might clamor for someone like Tyreek Williams or Alfred Collins, the buzz is real around Sanders and Alexander for good reason. These are guys who can make a difference from day one. Rosenhaus' strategy isn't just smart, it's essential. Secure the secondary, then attack the trenches. Build from the back and the middle, and suddenly this team starts to look like a serious contender. So now the question is, will Chris Grier finally make the right calls? Will he go corner at 13 and then stack the D-line at 48? Or will he once again outsmart himself and leave this team exposed where it hurts most? Let me know what you think. Dolphins fans, who would you rather see at pick 13? Will Johnson or J.A. Barron? And here's where things get really intense. Because if the Dolphins go with Will Johnson at pick 13, and that's a real possibility, especially if Barron is snagged by a team like the Raiders or Jets, they're going to need to hit that second-round pick out of the park. Defensive line depth is not just a preference for Miami this year, it's a full-blown necessity. You're talking about filling out not just starters, but rotational guys, practice squad depth, and long-term development projects all in one draft. And with Miami holding picks 114 and 135 in the 4th round, there's room to double down on the trenches. But the tone gets set at pick 48. Now, We mentioned Derek Harmon, potentially a huge value if he slips, but if he's not available, TJ Sanders becomes your cornerstone. This guy may not have the prototypical size, but his explosion off the line is real. He's got a motor that doesn't quit and put up dominant tape in the SEC. Think about that for a second. If you're producing at a high level in the best conference in college football, that translates. Pairing him with Zach Sealer would give the Dolphins an inside duo that can collapse pockets and slow down running backs before they get to the second level. And you know what that does? It makes life a whole lot easier for that new rookie corner on the outside. But don't sleep on Darius Alexander. This is one of those small school monsters who just eats up stats. He's not flashy, but he wins consistently. His win rate against both the pass and the run is eye-popping. He might be playing in the MAC, but dominance is dominance. He's a smart, instinctive player who knows how to beat his man. If Miami is looking for an anchor that could play smart football and hold his own from day one, Alexander is your guy. And then there's the wild card. What if the Dolphins do something bold at 48? Like take Donovan Jackson if he falls from Ohio State? Or go with someone like Jonas Aviana for offensive line help instead of sticking to defense? That's not off the table either, especially given how thin Miami's interior offensive line looks. But if it were up to me, stay on defense. Lock in that corner. Lock in that D-lineman. And then, when rounds 4 and 5 roll around, take your shots at O-line, safety, maybe even a backup QB if the value's right. Let's not forget, Miami has 2 4th-rounders and 2 5th-rounders. There's a ton of value there. And based on the work the Dolphins have reportedly done, a few names stand out on the offensive line. Marcus Mabau from Purdue, Wyatt Mullen from West Virginia, and Charles Grant from William & Mary. These are mid-round guys who could step in and contribute quickly in a zone scheme like McDaniel's. Tate Ratledge, who I love as a day 2 pick, might be gone by 98, but if somehow he's there, you sprint to the podium. This is the blueprint, folks. This is how you build a championship-caliber roster around Tua while he's still on a manageable deal. And I don't want to oversimplify things, but when your franchise has been wandering the playoff wilderness as long as the Dolphins have, you need to take the layups when they're given. This year, corner at 13, defensive line at 48, offensive line and safety in rounds 4 and 5. That's how you win the draft. But of course, there's one massive hurdle standing in the way of this seemingly obvious plan: Chris Grier. And if history has shown us anything, it's that Grier can find a way to zig when everyone else is begging him to zag. So while this plan laid out by Drew Rosenhaus might be crystal clear to fans and analysts alike, we're still putting our faith in a GM who has consistently missed the mark. And that's where the tension lies, Dolphins fans. Do you trust him to finally get it right? So here's the question I'm leaving you with. If you're in that draft room and both Will Johnson and J.A. Barron are on the board, who are you pounding the table for? And if Derek Harmon is sitting there at 48, are you rolling the dice on the medicals or playing it safe with Sanders or Alexander? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed because I've got more exclusive content coming your way, including a full 7-round mock and live coverage on draft night. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss anything. I'll catch you in the next video. Until then, go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Watch the next video popping up on the screen now and stay plugged in for everything Miami Dolphins.